Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I am Dr. Quigien, and today we'll be talking about road traffic accident, the do's and the don'ts when you meet somebody who was involved in a road traffic accident. In our community today, cars, motor vehicle, be it two-wheeled or four wheels, play an important role in our day-to-day life. We use them as a means of transportation, we use them as a means to deliver services, goods, or products. They are very important. We use them on a daily basis. If we consider the rising number of vehicles in our society, we consider the state of the roads, we consider the quality of the drivers, we see that that combination will bring a logical explanation for the rise in the number of road traffic accidents in our setting. In this 2023, frequently, I think I can say every month or every 2 months, we see a headline on the news talking about a road traffic accident that has claimed lives. So it is something that we need to talk about. We need to have a discussion to understand exactly what we can do for somebody who is involved in a road traffic accident. It's not a beautiful scene to observe. Somebody in distress, somebody bleeding, somebody in pain, somebody that was involved in a road traffic accident. It is not a beautiful scene. It is emotionally distressing to see someone, and it is only human. It is natural to want to help the person. But do we always help when we do what we have been doing? I mean, we observe in social media the type of help or the quality of help that people have brought. But before you want to help somebody who has been involved in a road traffic accident, I think it is important to understand a number of things about what could have happened. Firstly, road traffic accidents are high energy accidents or high energy impacts, and they usually occur secondary to collision, be it head on or sideways collision. That is, a car collides with another one frontally or is collided by another one by the side. That is what usually happens. And when this collision happens, if you remember your physics that you did in secondary school, the law of action and reaction, if you were driving at 80, 100, 130 kilometers per hour and you collide with another vehicle, the force with which you collide is the same force that will come back to your body, and a number of regions of your body are usually affected. First will be your femurs, because you're seated in your car with your knees flexed and you collide. There's a tendency for you to move forward and your knees to collide with the dashboard, and all that energy will move back into your body and can give you double thigh fractures, that is femur fracture. Both of them can be broken. You can break or dislocate your pelvis. That's a very common injury. Secondly, you usually have a seat belt on, and that energy, as you collide, there's a tendency for you to move forward, but the seat belt tends to bring you backward, and this could break your ribs. You could have a rib fracture. So we have talked about the femur and pelvis. We have talked about the thorax. Equally, the abdomen could be affected. And another very important injury, which is not usually seen or which is not palpable when you look at the person that was involved into the accident, is head injury, what we call deceleration injury. Because of the variation in speed, your brain can move inside. So even if you don't physically hit the brain can shake inside and section an artery or rupture an artery, and you have intracranial bleed that can precipitate you into coma. So this is usually the state in which a person that you see who was involved in a road traffic accident is. You may not see the lesions. The person may look normal, seated in the car, no open wound, or maybe some bruises on the face. But the thigh bones, the thigh fractures which are broken, are usually close fractures. You will not see them. But be careful, they are bleeding inside. The thigh bones have the potential to accumulate up to 3 liters of blood when you are involved in an accident. 3 liters, and you have two of them, so make the math to imagine how much blood they can contain. Same thing, if you have a rib fracture, it will not be open, but the bone will be broken. If you have something in the head, an intracranial bleed, the bone is not broken, but there's bleeding inside, and you see somebody who is comatose. So that is the state in which you usually meet someone who was involved in a road traffic accident. Now, what to do and what not to do when you meet somebody who was involved in such an accident. I will start with the question: is it a must that you must take a person who was involved in a road traffic accident out of the car? Must you, at all costs, by all means, take him out of the car? The answer is no. It is not a must. There are some clear criteria for which you must try to take the person out. First is if the car is smoking and there is a risk for the car to catch fire. Yes, then you must try everything to take him out, because if you leave him there and the car sets on fire, he's going to die in the fire. Secondly, if he's in a swampy area or there is a risk for the car to drown in the water, yes, he must attempt everything to take him out of the car. If the car is on a sliding area and there is a risk for the car to move down the cliff, yes, you must attempt to take him out. If you notice that there is an object or there is something that is putting pressure, or there is a risk of something to come and crush him, yes, you must attempt to take him out of the car. If these conditions are not met, there is no emergency for you to take him out of the car. Why do we say so? Somebody is in the car, he is seated, he probably had a rib fracture, he probably had a thigh fracture, he probably had a brain injury, he probably had a cervical vertebrae, the neck of the bones injury, and you want to take him out. What is going to happen? First, when we talk about the neck is a transition area for nerves that leave the brain and move to the rest of the body. And some very important nerves that control the heart and the respiratory centers cross at this region. And you try to mobilize him without blocking the neck, without securing the neck. What is going to happen? You will make a sudden movement and you will section the nerves. And nerves are known not to heal. So when you section the nerve, you have paralyzed the heart, you have paralyzed the respiration, and the person is going to die. The person had a minor bleed, you came and mobilized it, and you probably dislodged a clot or dislodged something that was making the hemostasis, that was stopping the bleeding. The bleeding increases, the pressure in the head increases, he goes into coma and he dies. You try to mobilize him, he has a rib fracture, which you cannot see because it is under the skin, you don't see it. And a broken fragment that is pointing inside punctures the lung or punctures the heart. The person bleeds inside and dies. He cannot wait for the professional help to come and rescue him because you have worsened his situation. You succeed in taking him out of the car. One person is holding the arm, another person is holding the leg, and you are carrying the person like a bag of potatoes. And he had some broken ties. You will dislodge the fragments and you will probably allow a piece of blood to leave from the thigh and move to the lungs and give him pulmonary embolism, and he will die, or you will worsen the bleeding. So initially, if he had 2 liters or 1.5 liter, the movement is going to increase the bleeding and all the blood will go into the thigh. So this is the reason why we say that you should not attempt to move the person. If you are not trained, if you are not equipped, because there are particular equipment like a neck collar to immobilize the car, there are particular ways to move somebody who was involved in an accident. Do not attempt. Does it mean that there is nothing that you can do for the person? No, there are some things that you can do. First of all, you should try to identify if the person is still alive or not. You could see if the chest is still moving, look for respiratory movement. You could feel a pulse on the neck. You could try to converse with the person if the person is conscious and can discuss with you. These are things that you can do. The next thing that you can do is to try to remove anything that could compress the person, because when you are involved into an accident, you tend to swell, because due to the trauma there is what they call edema and your body swells. So if there are some tight things that are going to constrict, and the person may have difficulty to breathe and may even choke. So if there is a necklace, you can remove it. If there are some wrist lace or wristwatch, you can remove it. You can loosen the belt, you can loosen the seat belt to allow the person to be able to breathe quiet, to breathe easily. So these are some of the things that you can do for somebody who is involved in an accident. And call for help. I think this is the first thing that I should have mentioned. Call for help. The firefighters are equipped, they are trained in rescuing this type of person. And something that you may not know, there's what we call a golden timing. That is, in a severe accident, the person that does not, there are some people that require immediate attention within the first 10 minutes. If they don't receive it, there is nothing that we can do more for them. Then you have the next 1 hour, and the timing after the 1 hour. So if somebody does not survive the first 10, if somebody has survived the first 10 minutes, he can wait for a longer period of time to receive help. So you trying to absolutely take out the person of the car, you may worsen the symptom. When a person is involved in a road traffic accident, there are things that you should not do, and there are things that you should do. We have covered the reasons why the things are the way they are. Thank you for listening to me, and see you another time for another health education.